Well, hello, everyone. It's Ashley with Court Reserve. Welcome to What's New. We are so excited to announce all of the great things that maybe you know and maybe you don't know that our amazing product team has come up with. But before we get started, don't forget this will be recorded. We will throw it up in the Court Reserve YouTube channel. If you're subscribed, you will get a notification. So go ahead when you're out there in YouTube world, subscribe to the Court Reserve channel. What's next? I think I've got like a couple slides to talk about, because I get all the fun stuff. Don't forget, if you are pickleball minded and want to know more about the best ways to build up or change your pickleball business, we recommend Mastermind. It is in beautiful Utah. It's in March. I checked today. There's already like 7 clubs going, which means your networking ability and best practices is going to be incredible. So go out to clubpickleballmastermind.com. You can book a call with Devin. Our team always goes out. It's always a great time. And then don't forget as well, Catalyst is back. And I got to tell you, all of these people on the call were there, and I'm sure they would all agree with me that Catalyst that we did a couple weeks ago in St. Augustine was the best ever. It was 1.5 days, which we will continue to do the rest of the year. We've cut the price in half, so it's only $99. And that extra half bonus day is 4 hours of complete roundtable best practice discussions with fellow club owners and admins and directors. And plus, we get to play pickleball. So don't forget, Columbus, Ohio is next. You can go out. Josh Willie is putting the link to get signed up. So again, it's 1.5 days and it's half price, and you get to come hang out with us. I don't know what else we could do, honestly, folks. All right, what's next? So we are traveling a lot. I think our team did over 50 events last year. We're going to be at PTR this weekend. I'm actually doing a 3-hour masterclass tomorrow on data and technology. So if you're around, come see me. And then we're going to be at a couple more events. You can find all of these at the courtreserve.com events page. And then finally, I'm starting it's almost like a new roundtable live webinar event. It's going to be once a month, and we're going to pick the ideas that you guys are telling us that you want to hear best practices about from other club directors, owners, and it's going to be on Zoom. So it's not going to be about Court Reserve necessarily. It's going to be about best practices. And the first one coming up, you'll have to go out. Josh Willie, he can put that link out here. It's going to be on summer camps. How are you running summer camps? Adults, juniors, kids. How are you setting them up? How are you getting people in the door? When do you start marketing them? What do you do for paperwork? How do you sign waivers? Like we did this at Catalyst, and it was so powerful. People were like, I wish we could do this more. So we are. So we're going to start doing this once a month. We're going to have some really cool clubs that do where our topic is really well. And then we're going to have all of your questions. So it's going to be a great call. So you can go out to our webinars page at CourtReserve.com and get signed up. And geez, I think that's all I get to talk about today. Who's getting excited about product? I am.
Thanks, Ashley. Just want to remind everyone, when we do these webinars, please use the Q&A section of your Zoom window. That way we can track all of the questions and answer them live, hopefully, as they come in. And just as Ashley said, we will be uploading this to YouTube when we are done. So give us about 24 hours. It will be on our YouTube channel, and you can find it there. All right, we're going to take it away. You want to get started with us, Matt?
Sure. Hello, everyone. So I'm going to go through a few of my recent releases, and we did recently introduce several improvements to our transaction list, allowing you to customize how the report results are displayed. So each column now, after you run your report, will have this 3-dot icon next to it. And when you click that icon, you'll see the ability to sort or filter the report results. And these work just as they did before. But what we've added is this option for columns. And as you can see in the screenshot, when you click that, you can select from the list of available columns and decide what information you want to display in your report. So you can go through that list and unselect columns or add columns that are relevant or not to you, and then click apply. And those changes will reflect instantly on the report. And if in the case you make a lot of changes and you forget where you started, we also have a reset option available. So if you ever want to go back to the default column configuration, you can do that at any time. And we've also added some additional columns to give you more functionality there. So if you are using any custom transaction event fields, they will show up as an option to select. We also included the SafeSave or Stripe transaction ID. You can include the GL code, or also we just recently added the event ID. So just being able to give you some more flexibility and options with what's displayed. And then also just as a reminder, any transactions that are paid by Punch or refunded to Punch, they still will not show up on this report by default. If you want to see any transactions with punches, you do need to select those from the transaction type or payment type specifically in order for those to display. And yeah, we'll get on to the next one. We added a new setting on the member portal, and this will allow clubs to either show or hide a member's masked phone number in search results when they're adding a player to a reservation or event. So if someone on your member portal is searching for a member and this setting is enabled, that player's name will display along with their phone number in a masked format and only showing the last four digits. So this can be helpful if you have members that share the same name and you just want a way to be able to differentiate between the two. And so the default for this setting is to hide the member's phone number. So if you want to have this information displayed, you will have to enable it by going under your portal settings. And then one additional note on this, if you have this enabled for your club, but a member has elected to hide their personal information under their own profile settings, the mass number will not show up for them. Their setting will always take priority for personal information. And then the last one I have is a new filter option that we've added to batch billing when you're creating a new batch. And this will allow you to exclude members with open unpaid invoices. Currently, how batch billing works is if you run a new batch, any unpaid invoices are voided and a new invoice is issued with any new fees added to that invoice. So if you want to avoid that void process with this new filter, when that's enabled, any members that have unpaid invoices will be excluded from the batch, leaving those invoices open and the member can still pay those. So yeah, that was it for
Awesome.
me.
Awesome. It looks like we do have one question in the Q&A. So
Yeah.
for the masked phone number, is it also going to show that masked phone number in the point of sale when searching for members there, or is this only going to show up on the member portal when we are trying to add players to a reservation?
Yeah, right now it will only show up on the member portal when searching for reservations or events. It will not show up on point of sale transactions, but that's a good call out.
Awesome. All right. And it looks like that was the only question in the Q&A. So I'll transition over to some of the updates that I worked on this quarter. The first one is going to be related to one-time price or free memberships. For one-time price or free memberships, we have added a new checkbox here to auto reassign a membership category after expiration. So an issue that we saw a lot of customers running into was whenever they had set a free or one-time price membership to expire after X amount of days, or if they set a hard end date on those membership types, once that membership ended, all of these players would have no membership assigned to their account, and they would lose access to any of the services you're offering until they manually went through the membership purchase or assignment process. So we are now giving organizations a way to automatically reassign a specific membership type to these players after this specific membership type expires. So if we want to maybe reassign players to a guest or a non-member membership after their one-time price membership has expired, they at least still have access to your facility and still have access to booking or registering at your facility. On the flip side of that, if you have a free membership, maybe it's a 7-day or 14-day trial membership, and then after that 7 or 14 days, you want to automatically reassign the player to that main individual membership with a price associated with it, you will now be able to do so with this checkbox here. One thing that I do want to point out is it is going to look at the expire membership after X days, but it is also going to look at the membership end date that you may be setting up on that general tab for a membership type as well. But this is just going to be a way to make sure that there's less scenarios where a player is just sitting in your facility with no membership and is losing access to any of those services you may be offering. Next, I have a few updates related to packages. The first update here is specifically about packages that are going to be auto-assigned to players. So last quarter, for the auto assign packages, we added an additional setting here where you could choose the punch eligibility period. And there's two options here. There's the assigned month only. And if you choose that, then that means if I get assigned a package in March, I can only use it for reservations and events that take place in March. Or we have the anytime period option, which means that I could use my March package to pay for a past reservation in February or a future registration in April. But a situation that we had learned with the assigned month only was how this previously used to work is on the first of the month. So on the 1st of March, you would be assigned that March package. But what that does not consider was if you have a registration window or a booking window that may open up prior to the 1st of the month. So we were learning that players were getting their March package on March 1st, but the registration window may have been open 14 days before March 1st, and there wouldn't be any availability or capacity for that player to register. So we have updated how that assigned month only behavior is going to work in the system. And we have updated it. So now you are going to be auto assigned your monthly packages 1 month in advance for that punch eligibility period of assigned month only. So now I would get my March package on February 1st, and I'd still only be able to use my March package on reservations or events that take place in March, but I at least get it 1 month early. So that way, whenever my registration windows open, I'm able to start using that March package. Another update that we made here is related to event setup, specifically when we are allowing waitlist on an event and when we are auto registering from that waitlist. We previously had a setting here that was labeled auto charge if payment profile exists, where the player's payment profile would automatically be charged whenever they were auto registered from the waitlist. But what this previously did not consider was if the player had a package that was eligible to pay for this event. So they may have had punches that were available on their account that were not getting used during this auto register, auto charge process. So now we have updated it to consider if the player has a package that's eligible to be paying for this event here. And the hierarchy is going to be the system will look at the packages first. If the player does have a package that can pay for this event, we'll use that package. But if they don't have a package that's available, that's going to be when we attempt to charge the player's payment profile. So this is just one of those cases where, with the package, it helps facilities cut down on those processing fees. And this is just one of those scenarios where we want to help make sure we are utilizing those packages in any scenario that they may be eligible to be used on. All right, and then next I have another portal setting here that we had released this quarter. This setting here is going to be to restrict name and date of birth edits on the member portal. We were seeing an uptick in support on players that were maybe changing their names, so it looked like they were fitting in a family that had a family membership, and maybe they weren't supposed to actually be in that family and using the benefits from that family membership. We saw cases where players were changing their date of birth, maybe to be eligible to register into specific events here. So we wanted to create a way to restrict players from being able to edit their name and their date of birth from the member portal. One thing I will add here is if a player does not have a date of birth and this setting is checked, they will still be able to add a date of birth, but after it has been saved onto their account, they will no longer be able to edit that date of birth. And then next, I have a few updates related to when we are merging player accounts. One of the scenarios that we had ran into was related to pre-purchased memberships. We learned that when you were merging two accounts, if a player had a current and a pre-purchase membership, it was only bringing the pre-purchase membership with the player once that merge process had been finalized. So we have updated that. So now if a player does have a current and a pre-purchase membership, it will bring both of those memberships over with the player as they are getting merged. The second scenario is related to network memberships. We have updated it so that if you are merging two players and one of those players has a network membership, you are now going to be required to select that network membership as the membership that's going to be used for this merged account. In addition to that, we have also restricted you from being able to merge two accounts if both of those accounts have different network memberships. That way, we're not accidentally unlinking somebody from a network membership that they should be a part of.
Hey, Josh, we'd had a
Yes.
question come in before we jump into some of your exciting beta stuff.
Mhm.
Regarding, jump back to the address or to the name and date of birth restriction. Is
Mhm.
there a fee in the future? Could we also offer an option to restrict address editing? Is there a way to do that in the system right now?
Right now, there's not a way to do that, but that is a great call out. And we can definitely look into making that an additional setting that you could enable in the future for sure.
Okay. And then there's another question just related to merging accounts in general. Is there, when you merge accounts together, are you going to be merging attendance records?
Yes, it should be merging all of those attendance records from those two accounts and then adding them together into this one merged account that we have.
Awesome. That's all I see in the Q&A.
Perfect. All right. And then the last things that I have are just two projects that we have in beta right now. We are currently in beta with our PlaySite integration. If you are already using PlaySite at your facility, this is a great way for players to be able to record their play and then get that recording after their reservation has finished up. And with this integration, we are also allowing the player to use any AI highlight functionality that PlaySite offers. That is a subscription that the player can subscribe to through PlaySite. And if they are subscribed to those AI highlights, that will be an option that they will be able to select when they are going in to initiate this recording from the mobile app. So if anybody wants any more information on that, definitely feel free to reach out to our support team and we can send over our knowledge base article and some more resources to help you get set up with this integration. And then the last one that I have is we are still in beta with our email campaigns project. For anybody that's not familiar with these improvements, this is really us revamping that bulk email builder that we have in the system. So with this project and what the beta customers are currently able to do now is they're able to create and manage multiple draft emails. They're able to also create email templates. We have also improved our create email flow into a 4-step process that's very easy to follow and very clear. We also have a way for you to schedule emails at a later date and time. And we have also added a way for you to send a test email before you send an email out to all of your recipients. So there's a lot of great stuff packaged into this. If anybody is interested in being a beta customer, feel free to reach out to our support team and we can get this released into your organization. We currently have a little over 60 customers that are using it, and we're hearing a lot of positive feedback. So I'm very happy to hear that. But if anybody else is interested, definitely feel free to reach out to our support team and we can get this released into your organization whenever you are ready.
I just want to also call out that this email campaigns project that Josh has been working on is awesome. We actually did a webinar a couple weeks ago where we showcased some of the things that you can do with that. Templates, scheduling sends, things like that. This is definitely an exciting thing that we really are looking forward to releasing globally. But, you know, the more people we get into beta, the more feedback that we get ahead of time too. So if you're interested in trying this feature out and being a part of that beta, definitely reach out to the support team so we can include you on that. Josh, there were a couple questions that came in a few minutes ago. One about PlaySite. How much longer do we expect that beta period to go on?
Yeah, so we should see the beta period going on for a few more months. I know that we are currently in the process of rolling it out publicly to all customers. So we should see a public release available in the next few months. But of course, anybody is open to join beta. We do have over, I think, around 20 organizations that are currently using it in beta right now. So yeah, if you are interested, definitely feel free to reach out to us and we can definitely get that set up for your facility.
And for those of you that might be newer to CourtReserve, having a feature in beta means it's a full functioning feature at this point. It's something that you can use day to day in your organization. During these beta periods, we're asking customers to use it, try it, give us feedback so we can maybe work out even some additional necessary features that might be important when we go to a general availability, or also even help us work out some bugs too, because sometimes just things crop up that maybe we weren't aware of in use cases. And so, a lot of these betas that we do really help reinforce the feature that we're bringing to market. So beta is an awesome opportunity to kind of work with us on the back end and help develop features that are going to move us forward. And Josh, there was another question. Are there any changes to packages where admins can change the start date and or backdate a package so it can be used for a lesson in the past, if that makes sense?
Yeah, Matt, that's a good question. Do you have any updates related to that that you're aware of right now, or is that something that we should keep note of?
We'll definitely take a note of that and look into that so we can maybe take a look at that one offline, but we'll definitely note that enhancement.
Awesome. All right. Any other questions?
And then there is a question, have any features not come out of beta and subsequently been discontinued? No. So once we get a feature into beta, this is pretty much going to roll into a launch. It's really just an early opportunity for you to try out some features and give us real world example feedback on how it's working for you and things that we may not have considered during the process. We do lots of user interviews leading up to features being released and developed. We do, lots of UX research, product research. We research admins and things like that. So a lot of times just the feedback that we're getting is, what could we use to make this feature better? But I don't think that we have a feature that we didn't completely roll out with after beta. All right, perfect. I'm going to let you keep going there.
All right, that was actually my last slide, so I'm ready to hand it off. Is Weiss going next?
I think Lisa's up
Yes.
next.
All right, I can stop sharing my screen.
All right. Hello, everybody. Just a few smaller things from me today. First is a new settings page that can be found on that general settings page where all the other ones lived. It's under the top row organization settings, and the page is called organization information. What this page is for is it just more accurately locates um, some of these organization specific fields where you can input things like the name, your phone number, things like that that already existed in the system. And we've added a few more exciting ones like email is now available in there. So you can display an organization-wide email to your members. We've updated the way we are taking in the inputs for addresses. So now we're validating them against the Google Places API so that we can use that for future enhancements that we're really excited about in CourtReserve. And then below that, we also have a field to select an account owner, someone that is responsible for your CourtReserve system that we as the CourtReserve team can use to reach out to that contact in the case of any emergency, any critical matter, or any account changes that need to be made. This is really just going to help us make those decisions and make sure we're communicating with the right people, those changes that need to be made. And below that on the page, you're not seeing it in the screenshot, is an additional contact section for people that we can reach out to. Maybe it's your front desk staff that need to know whether there's a slowdown or an outage with any service that your facility uses. We're going to start taking those names and reaching out to those people just for faster and more effective communication to you and your facilities. For the fields on this page that were already in the system, you shouldn't need to re-enter that information. The goal was to have it all migrate over, so that should remain the same, but we do ask that you take some time to go in and fill out any of the other information that is required on this page so we can start moving forward those features. Beyond that, we have a few updates to the leagues portion of our platform. First one is on the My Booking section on the mobile app and on the member portal. We are now showing league game days that you or one of your family members are opted into. Just another place to increase visibility on what you as a player or your players are a part of so they don't miss any game days that they've opted into. And then also with leagues, we have introduced audit logs for sessions and game days. I know our support team is fired up about this, but now you can see changes that were made to sessions and game days specifically. And one thing we really wanted to highlight is that now when rankings or standings are edited manually, those will be tracked in the audit log as well, so that you, when you're talking to your players, can now give a clear picture of why they are ranked the way they are in case there are any manual adjustments made there. And then lastly, a few little quick wins for us. There is new settings for reservations and for events. For settings under booking settings general, there's a new setting labeled allow cancel from reservation. You can now uncheck that. So if your facility doesn't allow cancellations at all, you can now outright prevent that, as opposed to the past where you had to enter an extremely high value into that time setting that we had given before to prevent that. And the same thing is true with events, where we can now outright prevent members from withdrawing instead of having to enter a large value as a workaround there. We have also added the guest label that is everywhere else in the system, that G in parentheses next to guests on the Who's Here Today page. It's a very popular page, so we wanted to make sure that was consistent with the rest of the software. And we also are showing the guest owner, if there is one, below that person's name. And then lastly, we have added audit logs to some of our reports, like the members report. That was one that was big for this, just to improve visibility on when those reports were ran, what filters were used, and what outputs were used, so that you guys have better visibility of what your staff is doing and what data they are extracting from your system. So the audit logs have been added there. Just a quick note, we are looking to eventually get to the place where all reports have an audit log, but we've been prioritizing some with more sensitive information that you guys have visibility on that. That's all I have. I do see there are a few questions revolving around leagues. We do have plans in the future to address and add some league formats. We don't have a time frame for that now, but we are aware that it's a big ask from the folks using leagues. So we are looking into that, but no definitive timeline at this point.
All right. Thanks, Weiss. If you want to stop sharing, I will go ahead and add my screen up for everybody. All right. So some of the exciting things that came out of Q4 was that we also released a new way for admins to register players for events. We worked for a long time on an overhaul to the admin event registration experience to provide admins really with a cleaner interface that's easier to navigate. So when you're going to actually register players, things just flow a little bit better. We're also providing you a consistent player search across reservations and events. So now when you go search for players on events to add them, it's going to be similar to the drop down where you currently already had with reservations. And it'll even show you really if those members are active in the system, if their membership is suspended or expired, or even after you add them to the table, it's going to show you who's maybe active and who's not. And then we're also giving you some per player flexibility when it comes to overriding pricing and custom data for players. So with the old admin interface to register players, you had, if you were going to override pricing, you were overriding pricing for every player that you were entering on that screen at that moment. If you were adding custom fields, you were going to also add the same custom field information for every player that you were registering at the same time. So it really didn't offer a lot of flexibility when you needed to, mass register players. So now with this new flow, you can update custom fields per player when you're registering. You can override pricing per player if needed. And it's fewer steps to complete the registration process as well. So another thing that we did I'll call out here is we have this review pricing. So if you were on our old admin interface, it's been a couple months actually since we took even our new customers off of the old admin interface. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, then you've only ever experienced this one. That's great. But in our old interface, this where this review pricing link is actually this used to show your entire pricing table for all of your memberships on events. And if you had a lot of memberships, sometimes you'd have to scroll for a while to even get to the point where you could add players to the event. So a lot of improvements with this. And so we're really excited to have this now globally released for all of our customers. All right. And then the next piece that we released globally, we did have this in beta for a little while, and then we did a global release of it, I think in early November. But we released a feature called Reservation Lottery. And so Reservation Lottery is really a way to ensure fairness in high demand court booking situations. So scenarios that we were getting a lot where clubs would open their reservations for the next open availability date, maybe at like 7 a.m. or 10 a.m. every single day. Their systems would just get hit hard with people all at the same moment trying to get reservations. And so usually you were running into this situation where whose ever internet was the fastest or whoever's fastest click is the person that's going to get the reservation. So what Reservation Lottery does is it kind of levels the playing field for everybody. And so at that same moment, every single day, you can enable the reservation lottery. And it's going to basically accept all of the reservations, maybe for 45 or 60 seconds. You as an admin can choose really a time period up to 60 seconds. It just collects all of those reservations during that 1 minute period window or 45-second window that you choose. And then after that period is over, it's going to just randomize the order in which they'll be processed and put out onto the court. So it really is a good way to, again, um, make, make reservations a lot more fair for customers across the board. So, again, fastest internet doesn't always win. And, hopefully everybody's going to realize that it's a little bit more fair. So if you're interested in reservation lottery, there is a great article in our knowledge base around that with a video tutorial that our video person put together for us as well. Sorry, words are hard today. So definitely check out Court Lottery if you do run into a lot of scenarios where people, might be fighting for courts all the time. Oh, and one of my screens did not update here. Josh, can you guys see this image, or should I refresh my page?
I can
Sometimes that happens.
let me
Well,
let me check on my end really quick.
I think I just need to refresh my page. Sorry, everybody. Technical difficulties here. And a little bit of behind the scenes. Where was I? All right, I was on check-in kiosks. Let's try that again. All right, can we see it now, Josh?
Yes, everything's good now.
All right, perfect. All right, so next we have a couple updates related to your check-in kiosks. My partner Erin and I worked on a couple updates here that we're super excited about. And a lot of these things just came out of natural ideas that you as admins gave to us on capabilities that you want to do out of a kiosk or things you want to prevent from the kiosk perspective when a player is checking in. So the first one is to restrict kiosk check-in by membership type. So specifically, you can now choose which membership types are eligible to use your check-in kiosks. So it's going to prevent a player from checking in if their membership is not eligible to use that kiosk. And so you can even customize the decline message that the person sees. How would I use this at my club? Well, a lot of the feedback that we've gotten from clubs is that, they want to fast track their members through check-in, but they want all of their visitors or guests to actually go to the front desk. So this is a great way to prevent those maybe members that you want to make sure come to your front desk from just bypassing you and going straight to the court. So definitely check out by membership type on your kiosks if you're interested in getting those players to actually, not go to your kiosk all the time. And then another one was allowing check-in if the player's reservation or registration fee is unpaid. This was another really big one. You would get players who had a reservation, but maybe they registered at the front desk or over the phone, or for whatever reason, their reservation's not paid. Maybe their payment profile failed if you went to bill them in advance. This will prevent that player from checking in if that fee that they are coming to check in for is unpaid. Again, you can customize that message that appears when their check-in fails, and the kiosk will prevent the player from being checked in if they have that unpaid state. So definitely check those out if you are interested in having a little bit more restrictions around your kiosks. And then another one that I'm really excited about is guest waiver kiosks. So we made a really cool update to our guest waiver kiosks. And I'm going to kind of set the scenario here. So when you create a guest waiver kiosk, it would go into our normal kiosk. Okay. And so those kiosks were gated by PIN codes. But we were running into a lot of scenarios where maybe you were having corporate events and you want those players to sign maybe their waiver before they come, or you just want to put a QR code at your front desk so people could scan it and sign it on their own device and you not have to worry about having an iPad that was logged in. Well, now your guest waiver kiosk has an option to allow public signing instead of actually presenting with that person with a kiosk and an iPad. So if you see the screen behind me or the grayed out screen back here, this is the setting that I'm looking at. So on your guest waiver kiosk actual page down here, we've now added this checkbox to allow public signing. So what this is going to do is when you check this off and you save that kiosk, you're going to see a new link that pops up. And so this is going to be called your public signing link. What you can do is you can copy that URL and you can send this to players before they come to your facility. Again, you can make a QR code, post it at your front desk. And then when the player goes to that URL, they're going to go to the kiosk view that they would have seen, but it's not gated by a PIN code anymore. So you don't have to worry about that gated access. Players can sign it. It's just going to refresh itself after they sign it. But then you can get those waivers a little bit easier than we were before. So definitely a great way to, again, get those guest waivers ahead of time. One of the things that I want to kind of throw out there also is that you could really, once you do this, you could really create maybe a waiver for a specific corporate event that you're going to be running, and then create a specific kiosk dedicated to that corporate event. So now that event maybe, or that corporate event that's coming through, they have their own dedicated waiver kiosk that you could send out. And then you basically have a list of all of the players that are coming in and they're nicely packaged on that waiver that you set up for them. So reach out to our support team if you're interested in learning more about the kiosk public URL, but that feature is out there and there's information in our knowledge base about how to use that setting as well with some real world examples. All right. And a couple other things that I just want to throw out there too. One of the things that our support team was also very excited about that we released in the last quarter was proper audit log tracking on our event restrictions. So one of the things that we were, being made aware of was that when you edit an event, those event restrictions, maybe the gender or the player level and things like that, those weren't being tracked properly in our audit log. Some were showing, some were not. Sometimes they would, sometimes they wouldn't. So we kind of did an overhaul on the whole audit log event restrictions tracking. So now all of those restrictions that you use on an event should be properly tracked going forward. So we're really excited to get those out because now we can just see kind of as things are happening and when edits are made. And a couple things that we did for our enterprise customers. I think our summer release, we released network memberships, which has been huge for our enterprise customers. If you're unfamiliar with what a network membership is, network memberships allow players to purchase a membership at one location and visit another club within the enterprise or network with the same membership. So a lot easier access into new clubs when you're traveling. Well, in the last quarter, we've identified a lot of fixes in areas where maybe player profiles weren't syncing properly to network memberships, or after changes were made, things were not syncing properly. So we also made a lot of improvements over the last quarter into how those memberships link for network memberships. If you are an enterprise customer and you see that there's an issue with your network memberships not linking, please let our support team know. There's lots of places in the system where we have to identify when all these things happen. So if you identify something that doesn't look right, just let us know so we can investigate it. And then another fun one that we did for our enterprise customers was we wanted to give enterprise customers visibility on who their players were and what locations their players were a part of. A lot of that stemmed down to network memberships and making sure players' memberships were linked properly. But we wanted to give admins who maybe didn't have access to every facility within their enterprise just visibility on where other players were playing within that enterprise. So what we did was within the player profile, if you're an enterprise and you have more than one location, your profiles are now going to show, your player profiles are now going to show this locations button up in the top right corner. When you click that locations button, you're going to see a list of all of the places that this member is a part of. So if they visited another location with their network membership, you'll be able to identify that. If there's maybe a problem with their membership not linking right, you could actually look at this and see maybe where there might be an issue with the membership at another location. So just gives you a lot more visibility on kind of where this player is playing with that membership that they have. All right. Are there any final questions that we needed to get through, Josh?
It does not look like there are any questions.
All right, perfect. Well, I just want to send out a reminder that all of the information that we cover, and there's a lot of it, there's even more in our release notes. So every couple of weeks, we do post out a new set of release notes. So if you're in your admin bar of your CourtReserve account, and my arrow keeps flipping as I'm trying to put it on the right side here, but if you see that megaphone is going to link you to all of our release notes that we've ever had in the history of CourtReserve, but always the new stuff is right on the top. So definitely check that out, see what's new. You can even subscribe to our release notes too. So as those release notes come out, you're just going to automatically get a notification on what's new in the system and you know how you can use your system more efficiently. So definitely check out those release notes. There's lots of information in them. Shout out to our technical writer. She does an amazing job in keeping everything that we released organized. And then a couple of new things or a couple more webinars that we have coming up. I just wanted to call out our Spring 2026 webinar series. Ashley mentioned our Spark series. Every Thursday, we're hosting a lunch and learn through the spring. So definitely check those out if you're interested in learning more about the system. And everybody on our team is involved. So our product team, our CS team, everybody is really helping out and showing tips and tricks about CourtReserve. Couple that we have upcoming, streamlining the player booking journey. I really want to call this out because next Thursday, Ashley and I are going to do a webinar on some really cool new feature that we're releasing very soon. But this is kind of the opportunity for you guys to see that early and what that player booking journey looks like. So definitely check that out. And we've got a couple more through February and into March. But yeah, that's kind of all we got, Josh. Ashley, anybody have any final thoughts today?
I'm excited. And if you miss next Thursday, I'm really sad. So don't miss it.
Yes, please don't miss it. Ashley and I will be there. And if you came to Catalyst, you already know what we're going to present, and it's going to be awesome. There's a question, are previous webinars available? Have they been recorded? Yes. Every single webinar that our CourtReserve team does, we post it on YouTube within 24 hours after that webinar is over. So if you're curious about anything we've ever talked about, go to our YouTube channel and see what we've posted recently. Like I said a couple weeks ago, Michelle and Beth on our team, they did a great webinar on email campaigns. At the beginning of the year, Josh and I did a webinar on event filters for your member portal website. So there's lots of topics. I think Matt's done some on financial ones. So there's lots and lots and lots of information out there to just kind of show you what CourtReserve has to offer and how to use your system.
Or you could come to Catalyst and we could talk about all this all day long.
Oh, did I say February 12th is today? Thank you guys so much. I made a mistake on my slide. We're human and that happens. That webinar is going to be February 19th, next Thursday, 1 week from today. Thank you for that. It will be at 1 p.m. though. So we're very excited for that. Sorry. Go to courtreserve.com/webinars. All of the webinars are there for you to sign up. But we hope to see you then. Next Thursday is going to be really exciting, Ashley.
Yep. See you soon. Bye, guys.
Right. Bye.